So, my video called Why Buddhas Create Pure Lands was a pretty popular one and generated lots of comments. I'll read a couple of them. The first one being a person who said, "Sorry, maybe this is a naive question. A bee, a dog, a worm, or a blade of grass has its Buddha nature? I hope so," he said. "By the way, thank you with all my heart because you made me discover Jodo Shin/Pure Land Buddhism." Well, that's a question I think we've talked about a little bit before. And for me, it's a tough one. I have no trouble with the idea of sentient beings. But in any case, this idea that a rock or an inanimate or an insentient object has the Buddha nature, I just have more trouble with that. I'll tell you a story that I hate to acknowledge or admit, but it was when I was in high school, I think, and taking a biology course. And in order to fulfill the obligations of the instructor, we had to essentially stick a needle in a beetle. And by the way, when I watch medical shows on TV, I always have to turn my head when they start surgeries. But in any case, I asked the teacher, I said, does this creature not feel pain? And the answer wasn't really that satisfying when he said, "Well, we don't have any way to measure that." Well, that was a long time ago, and I don't know whether we do or don't, but I would put forward the notion that we do need to assume that all living beings, and perhaps even plants, have some kind of sentience, and therefore, if we believe in the Buddha nature as being associated with sentient beings, which, again, that's the phrase that's used throughout the sutras, then the answer to this question is essentially, for the most part, yes. It is living being and not human being only. Now, that said, I think there's a religion called Jainism, which goes to an extreme in terms of nonviolence. I think I think I saw a rating one time of the different religions in terms of their degree of nonviolence, and I think Jains were at the far end of the continuum. In other words, do you go so far as to say if your house is infested with a certain type of insect, you shouldn't, try to deal with the infestation by essentially getting rid of it? Or again, if your body is infested with some kind of bacteria, let's take a bacteria. Bacteria is a living entity of some kind. Should that not be addressed aggressively in order for the larger body, namely your body as a human being, to be saved and made to be healed, if you will, from the infestation within the body? These are questions that I'll leave as open ones. As an old boss of mine once said, I've got an opinion satisfactory to myself, but it may not be all that Buddhistic, so I'll keep it to myself. Anyhow, this is how I replied at the time to this query. I said, and again, remembering that he asked if it was a naive question, I said, "No question is too naive. That said, I do not always have the expertise to give the best answer. What I have found is that the vast majority of scriptures refer to sentient beings or to the living. However, there are some who refer to non-sentient objects. I believe Thich Nhat Hanh takes that position when, for example, in a 2013 talk he said, quote, "We need to remove the dualistic thinking regarding inanimate objects. Even a rock has Buddha nature. We have to transcend the idea that Buddha must be human." Close quote. You may have noticed that I have a playlist on the Tiantai tradition, out of which Shinran emerged. In researching your question, I learned that the Tiantai scholar Zanran expanded the Tiantai view of Buddha nature, which he saw as synonymous with suchness, to argue for the idea that insentient rocks and plants also have Buddha nature. To be honest, this is a hard idea for me to get my head around. I think the traditional view in Buddhism is that we are to be grateful to be born as a human, and even more grateful to have been exposed to the Buddhist teachings, precisely because those are preconditions for attaining enlightenment. In any case, I am most gratified that you have discovered Shin Buddhism and that I have helped you in your spiritual journey. Namo Amida Butsu. And since I have this printed out, I'll share this this other comment, which is so complimentary, and I really do appreciate comments that are made on my channel. And it is gratifying to me to know that that some of my videos resonate with some of the listeners who get exposed to them. And this particular individual, and again, people come from all parts of the world, all kinds of countries, other than English-speaking countries that kind of get exposed to my videos and make comments. And this particular individual said, I just found your channel and clicked on this video out of curiosity. And I just realized that you are the voice of the Buddhist sutras that I have been listening to. The Lotus Sutra, Heart Sutra, Perfection of Wisdom in 700 Lines, the Diamond Sutra, and a little bit of the Shurangama Sutra. I just want to say thank you. I listen to them in my free time when I am traveling, during meditation, when I have had a rough day, and they never fail to bring me this inner reassurance and calmness, realizing the emptiness of all things. And I didn't print the entirety of that comment, but I think what he's referring to, of course, is that the videos on my channel that have the Chinese and English text screens, those were done in collaboration with my friend Sean, a pharmacist originally from Hong Kong who now lives in the United Kingdom. Anyhow, he really does a lot of the work in enhancing the audio for those and attaching the PowerPoint screens, and he uploads them onto his channel, Dharma Chakra Wheel of Dharma, which I'll put a link to down below. And he uploads them with a bit of quiet music in the background while I upload them without the music. So apparently this fellow got exposed to those, and then it clicked for him when he got to my channel that it's actually my voice, my recitation. So I've gone off on a tangent, sort of an egotistical, non-Buddhistic tangent that I apologize for, but in any case, I thank anybody and all of you who are listening to this channel and taking the time to make a comment, whether positive, negative, or neutral, or asking a question, because those stimulate my own thinking and research and give me an opportunity to feel like I have some kind of dialogue with other persons who also have an appreciation for the wonderful Buddhadharma. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.